spinning. Not live yet. It's just spinning. All right, we are live, everyone. Welcome to this episode of PEPTalk, Productive Environment Podcast. Who's ready for a pep talk? I am, and I love hearing from our guests that you guys are going to hear from today. This is truly going to be an amazing pep talk for you. So we're going to talk about think outside the file box, organizing for your unique learning style. So I'm going to introduce you to Kerry in just a minute, but I just wanted to say that we had Kerry's been part of our community for 11 years, 2014, right? Wasn't it 2014?
Yes, 11 years.
11 years. And she's a friend, she's a colleague, she's all kinds of things. And she spoke on this topic at our Productive Environment retreat at the beach this past December. And it was amazing. And our retreat attendees just absolutely loved it. So you guys are in for a treat from the retreat. But before we get started, I am Andrea Anderson, CEO of Productive Environment Institute here in Carolina Beach, North Carolina, joined by...
I'm Barbara Hemphill, founder of Productive Environment Institute in Raleigh, North Carolina.
All right. And we are joined by our amazing guest, Kerry Thomas, who used to say that she was in Carolina Beach, North Carolina, but she moved away and she left me and she moved to Florida. So are you home? Are you in Florida right now, Kerry?
I am, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. She knows me well. I travel a lot, but yeah. I am home.
Barbara and Kerry both. It's like, where's Barbara? Where's Kerry? Where are they calling in from? They're sitting in a car somewhere or they're on their way somewhere. But anyway, they get stuff done. That's for sure.
So Kerry goes to a lot more interesting places than I do. When I'm traveling, I'm usually sitting in my car. I was just sharing that this week I did a webinar in the car and my computer got so hot, my computer shut off.
Yeah, you guys are blowing up those computers over there. So I'm going to take this image off the screen so we can come on full screen with you. But I just, again, want you to see the topic. Okay, guys, for those of you that are joining in now, think outside the file box, organizing for your unique learning style. And I believe, Kerry, you're going to talk to us about office and home organizing. Is that right? Okay, that is fantastic because if we have an office, we also have a home. So
true.
Kerry covers all the bases. So Kerry, I'm not going to do an official introduction. That was my introduction for you. So if you want to share anything about yourself and Kerry Thomas Consulting, please do. And I'll just let you just get started.
No, that works. I'll just share that, as you said, I'm a certified productive environment specialist. I also do work as a simplification coach. I do a lot of online coaching and I work with professionals with ADD and help them with their overwhelm, but you don't have to have ADD to be in my world. We all feel a little scattered these days. And I do that by putting in place tailored systems, which is what we're going to talk about today, so people can have peace and productivity. It's all about customizing. So that's what we're here for today.
Sounds perfect. Yep. Barbara always says God created us all with the unique DNA, the unique styles. None of us learn the same and organize the same. And so I think the way you do things, Kerry, is really, really beneficial.
Well, and one of the major PEI principles is half of any job is using the right tools. And so that's what Kerry's all about, is helping people find, as we say many times, people say, what should I do? And we always say, that's the wrong question. The question is, what will you do? And the tool is often the answer.
Exactly. One last thing before Kerry kicks off. Guys, wherever you're joining us from, please feel free to comment. And then when there's an appropriate time where I don't interrupt Kerry, I'll share your comments on the screen. If you're on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn, please comment wherever you're from. And then hopefully we'd love for you to make your way over to our YouTube channel so that you can like the video, share the video with someone else that needs to hear it, and subscribe to our channel. Last time I looked, you guys, we're a small growing channel. Last time I looked, and it hasn't been today or yesterday, we were at 599. So I would love for you to be our number 600 if we haven't already gotten there. You could be our 601, 602, whatever. But please do, because that helps us get this message out to more people. So we would appreciate that. So Kerry, I'm going to kick it off, let you kick it off. Kick it back to you.
Thank you. So I don't have a specific, anything planned. I'm just going to share how I work with clients in this way. So please interrupt, ask questions. If people have questions that you see in the chat, please just go ahead and jump right in. So when we talk about getting organized in our life, we often start based on what we saw somebody else do, what our coworkers do, what our parents told us to do, what works for our brother or sister. And then my clients bump up against a wall because they think there must be something wrong with me. I can't do this. I can't get organized. But really, it's because they're trying to put systems into place that work for other people and not them. And so I, say, okay, take a deep breath. We're going to back up a little bit. And we talk about what goes into being organized. And it's really a component of three things. One is the learning style, which we already, had on the banners, and I'll go into that in just a moment. The second thing is your organizing style, which I'll also touch on in just a moment. And then your executive function. And so executive function is your ability to plan and carry out tasks and prioritize. And some people have better innate executive function, but it can also fluctuate with stress, sleep, all different life events. We experience that when things are cruising along in our personal life. Sometimes it'll feel easier at work as well. And maybe you have a new baby at home, or you're going through something with an illness with a loved one, and even your work tasks start to feel harder. That's all part of your executive function. The organizing style is, oh, thanks, Mitzi. The organizing style is also very innate to you. And different professionals and different professional organizers have come up with some really cool names and categories and types of organizing style. But just to keep it very simple, you're usually either a piler, where you have all your things piled up, or you're a filer, where you like to have things put away. And if you're the kind of person, let's say you have a big project, if you're the kind of person that has to have the surface clean, has to have everything just so before you can dive into a big project, Andrea's raising her hand. Or if you are the kind of person where if you tucked everything away before starting work on your big project, you might get a little panicky. And that's Barbara. That's why you guys are so perfect together.
That's right. Peanut butter and jelly.
Yep. So you know your organizing style, but maybe you're not using it to your advantage. So with my clients, like I said, we back up to the beginning. I ask a series of questions to uncover a lot of those just innate things that are part of our personality and help us work best. And then the learning style, which is why we're here today, is also important. I have my bachelor's and master's in special education, and I taught for 10 years before switching and becoming a professional organizer. So I'm still passionate about helping people uncover how it can work for them, making it breaking it down to the simplest step. How can you make this work for you? So when we talk about learning styles, there are three main. There are some others, but we're not going to even hit on those today. Three main learning styles that everyone agrees on. And you might be a combination. I've had people take multiple learning style quizzes because sometimes they don't like it if they're tied on the first one. So I'll go in and dig up another one and say, okay, here's another one you can take. But sometimes people come out just absolutely even. So you can be a combination. But the three main types are visual, auditory, and tactile or kinesthetic. And so visual is just what it sounds like. You learn best by reading. You learn best by looking at things. That's how so when we talk about the learning styles, it's not just how you learn information, It's how you retain information and also how you can work with it and process it so that you can use it in your life or use it in your business. So visual people are usually good spellers. They usually are very sensitive to color. They are usually very sensitive to lighting, which we can talk about again in a moment. They will tend to remember faces better than names, things like that. So if you are a typical visual person, you like to read, you like to look, at the charts, at the graphs. So Andrea was raising her hand for that one.
I'm definitely visual.
Yeah. Yeah. What is your, like when you were in school, what was your favorite thing? Wait a minute.
Spelling. I mean, the spelling bee, I remember it was so important to me that I remember the word that I messed up on. All third grade, I spelled tractor wrong and I never forgot it. So spelling was very important to me. I know. I think I spelled it ER instead of OR or whatever. I don't even know right now.
Oh no.
But no, spelling, English, language arts, definitely not math. And my mom is a math teacher, so that was interesting. But yeah, definitely, reading, seeing, visual. And you said about retaining, because I can listen to things too, but the retaining, if I see it and hear it, I'll retain it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If I just hear it, I won't retain it, probably.
So flipping that and saying, okay, well, I know that about myself. What good does that do me? How can I set up my environment now? I can actually see behind you that you are already doing one of those, and that is to have multiple sources of light.
Yep, that's very important.
And you also have a lot of natural light in your place, which is probably what drew you to it. Like, I love natural lighting. I mean, I have a skylight and it's perfect. So not just a lot of light, but different sources. So you can try a desk lamp, a corner lamp. You can try some overhead lighting. You can try sitting in a different place. If you're feeling like you're dragging in the afternoon, go outside and actually get some good sunlight. Turn on a different light. But then it's also the reverse sometimes. Sometimes if you're highly visual, too much light, sometimes you need to tone it down depending upon what type of task you're working on, what energy you prefer to be in for that task. Maybe you need a dimmer. Maybe you need to bring it down. So that's one of the first things we look at with visual learners. Another one is color coding. And I know you do that as well, Andrea. Visual learners do really well with color coding, whether it's in their digital, like their calendar, whether it's actual things like in their office, in their desk, in their house, on like a big wall calendar for your family. What is that? What was that?
I have an orange stapler, an orange tape thing, an orange notebook. I color code my office supplies. The only thing I don't color code anymore, thanks to Barbara, is my files. My filing system is not color coded. That's it.
And I am fully, as a trained sort of CPES, I'm fully on board with that. No color coding files.
That's right.
Yes, no. And then as far as storage goes, visual people do well either with color coding their storage, the people that have their Christmas things in the red bins and their fall things in the orange bins, but mostly they do well with clear storage so that they can see what's in it and if it's uniform. So no matter which way you go, a visual person, it's better if it's uniform. And believe it or not, those little things matter on a daily basis, because if you're not comfortable in your environment, it's like a 1,000 little paper cuts every time you walk into a room, or every time you pull up your digital calendar and you don't like how it looks. I'm a very visual person, and it makes Andrea get the heebie-jeebies, but I run all of my email accounts, even my professional ones, through Yahoo because I like how it looks. And the fact, she's trying not to speak right now. And the fact that I like how it looks helps me be more productive. And so
what a great example. It's like, and that's, in terms of what we do, accomplish your work and enjoy your life, it's those things. You know, when I lived in India, I used to say we can deal with the big stuff, but it's the gnats that kill us.
The minutia, the little things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
But go
So
ahead.
true.
Go
So
ahead
true.
with your little Yahoo account. Go ahead.
I will.
Hey, if it works, it works. And it obviously clearly works for you because you're very productive.
I'm
So there
mostly
you go.
inbox zero, and it does work. But
That's great.
if I
Zero
had to-
judgment. Zero. I'm working on that. Zero judgment.
Good. All right. So let's move on just for time, and we can answer questions at the end.
Yeah.
But the second one is auditory. And again, just like it sounds, these are people who learn best by hearing, by listening. And so you can process and retain the information through listening. I have a client that does both. They will listen to an audiobook, but actually have the book in front of them to highlight because they're auditory and kinesthetic, which we'll get to in just a minute.
So I often buy a book auditory first because it tells me very quickly how interested I am in it. Like, is this one I just want to listen to, or is this something I want to mark up? So I buy it auditory just to listen. But then if it's something I really care about, I do the paper and then I mark and listen at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. That's exactly right. Because if I remember yours, you were auditory and kinesthetic.
Well,
right?
Yeah, auditory and kinesthetic. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. So in real life, some of the things that help auditory learners are having reminders, alarms, chimes that stand for different things. You also have to be very careful though, because again, too much of a good thing can be bad because you're so sensitive auditorily. You don't, if you really have to concentrate, you're the person that has to make sure no notifications are on, turn off your, all the chimes. But you might also experiment with like study music or some of the different tones and frequencies and, even for sleeping, something like white noise, green noise, but there's so many different ones. So you can experiment with that. If you look on YouTube for focus music, focus beats, any of those type of things, and just play with it and see which one helps you. So
that's another, sorry to interrupt you, but I was going to say this real quick. That's another area that Barbara and I differ in. She likes music in the background. And I can't have music in the background, but I have the ocean or rain in the background. I have to have just the steady white noise. And she likes music. So,
but I'm very picky about what music. I mean, very, very specific about the kind of. I mean, it has to be exactly the right kind of music. If it's not exactly the right, it has to be something that's fairly even toned. No, all instrumental. No singing of any kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes it varies by task. If you're trying to really accomplish something physical in your space versus trying to write a chapter of a book, you might want different sounds in the background.
Absolutely.
And these are the more things that I guide my clients through, because sometimes I think, well, I tried that and it didn't work, or there must be something wrong with me. And there's not. You just need to do some more experimentation to find what works.
Yeah.
Another thing with auditory is auditory learners they have the greatest level of success with an accountability partner, because you're talking it out and you're checking in and you're saying it and you're hearing it and it's
yes.
Barbara.
Yes. And so I've had a couple of auditory clients that instead of, or in addition to, I should say, their any type of task list or their calendar, they will the night before record like their top 3 priorities for the next day, anything else that they want to remember for the next day. And then they listen to it first thing in the morning. And that's been a game changer for certain people.
Well, I've never done that before, but I like the idea. I have to try that. I like that idea. I didn't think about it.
And I don't, for me. I know Barbara does. I think that would be a good idea for you, Barbara.
Yeah, I always learn from Kerry. So 11 years, I'm still learning from you, dear.
Well, good. And then the last one is tactile and kinesthetic. And these are the people that learn by doing. If you get, a box to put together a bookshelf, they're not going to stop and read the instructions. They're going to look at all the pieces and they're going to get their hands in there. And that's how they process, trial and error, actually doing. So tactile and kinesthetic people need some type of motion in their setting. Even if, at your desk, sometimes like a standing desk or sitting on an exercise ball, or different seating for different tasks, being able to get up and move and do things. Texture is also very important to tactile and kinesthetic. Some people, I discovered this when I was working with high school and college students on productivity, in that the paper and the pen, or even the angle of their laptop, all those type of things could make such a difference if you're a kinesthetic person, because you have to feel right in your body in order to process and retain information. So just experimenting with different textures, different, putting something across the room, like your printer, or, we teach to keep all the parts of the Magic 6 right within reach. But sometimes if somebody's very kinesthetic or very ADHD, it's helpful to have your workspace set up in zones where it gets you to get up purposefully certain times, an hour or a day or whatever it is.
My office is on the first floor and my printer is on the second floor. And I did it on purpose.
Really?
I print a lot because I still like paper, and I print a lot for my husband too. So it's because if there isn't something to distract me, I joke to my husband, when I become a widow, I'll have to get a dog, because I would be a workaholic otherwise. I mean, there's no question that if I were here by myself, I would just work until I dropped, because I like what I'm doing. It's not hard work and I enjoy it. So the printer gets me, forces me up. The place that I learned the most about kinesthetic, we've had Karen McCall with Money Grit on before, and I'm a Money Grit user. And when I was learning Money Grit, I could not do it unless I did it. So she would show it to me how to do it. I said, oh yeah, I got it. I understand it. And I would go to do it and I would be just a blank. I mean, it was as though nothing had been said to me. And if I didn't know what you've taught, I would have said, which is actually what happened when I was a child. It's like, I'm really stupid, because I would understand what she was saying. I would look at it. I would understand conceptually what we were trying to do. And then I would physically go do it. And so one of the things she learned was she had to turn the share screen over to me and let me do it, because if I don't do it, I will not remember it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I discover pretty quickly, both my in-person and virtual clients, which people are like that. And I came to the conclusion pretty early on of working virtually, which I started in 2017, that some of the reason that the kinesthetic people had long-term success, even though we were working virtually, is because they had to do it. I couldn't be there in their office saying, okay, we're going to put these files here. And they had to actually get the file box, get the file, put the label, and they've had lasting success, even though people say all the time, how do you help someone with their office virtually? That doesn't even make sense. But for some people, it's better.
Yeah.
They
absolutely.
take ownership and they're doing it.
That's right. We're transferring the skill, but they have to fit. We can't do it for them. And that's if we're in the office with them, our tendency is to do it for them. We want to do. So this makes it so we can't do it. Let me share a couple of comments that have come through. Pam with mindful decluttering organizing. She sent this at 10 minutes in. So you were talking about visual. She said, OMG, you just described it. So Pam was clearly visual. And then she said, Andrea, you were forgiven for spelling tractor rock. I just looked it up and it is O-R, and I spelled it just like that. I spelled it E-R. Oh, great. I'll never forget. And then Tony said, Tony's a certified productive environment specialist like Kerry. Kerry is amazing. Enjoyed her learning style session Tony was at the retreat. She breaks it down so well, so insightful. So absolutely, totally agree with that. So awesome.
Thank you.
Hey.
I went obviously a lot deeper during that session, and I showed everybody pictures and examples, and
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing to talk about. But did you have any other questions or anything
Yeah.
you heard last time that maybe I forgot to say and I could dive into?
Maybe just a little bit. I know you're going to tell them where, in fact, if you want to do that now, tell them where they can get more information about this and how they can contact you. And then I do have a question for you.
Okay.
So where can
So I have in addition to my website, I have a page where you can go and sort of get all my freebies. And so it's www.clutter to, oh, there it is. Wow, look at Ed's go. cluttertoclaritysteps.com. And on that page, there are 10 tips for getting unstuck. And it's a holistic view. It has some very practical systems things. And then it also talks about like getting outside in nature, those type of things. So it's a holistic view about getting unstuck. There's also our productive environment scorecard. You can take that quiz, find out your productivity score. And then there's a link to join my Facebook group, which is Less Clutter, More Peace on Facebook. And that's a page where we talk about all types of clutter. I mean, I do some sessions doing PEI things, teaching paper and digital, but we also talk about how to get rid of sentimental stuff and the internal clutter and all that. So that one page, Clutter to Clarity Steps, has links to all of those things. Sort of
it's gold. There's gold in them, their pages.
Yes. And your Facebook group is a very active group too. I love seeing people commenting on what they're doing. And yeah, it's a very good group. Mitzi just said, aha moment. I just did a story video on organizing my closet to my visual learning style. My aha moment. Okay. You did a story video on organizing your closet to your visual learning style. And you know what's interesting is we had a guest on a few weeks ago, Josh, who is a blind entrepreneur. And his clothing in his closet is color coded, even though he can't see it. He knows that if he wants to wear black, it's here. If he wants to wear blue, it's here. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So
but what Mitzi said is interesting because we do tend to teach and expect others to understand the way we learn. Wow. And so if you in a family or a team or a workspace, even if you took nothing else away from this, just take away the fact that not everybody learns and processes the same as you do. Yeah. And so
I don't remember what the book was, but there was a book that talked about how, well, I've seen it written several times about how you can listen to people's languages and get an idea. So they'll say, did you see that? I mean, does that make sense or whatever? And so you can listen to their language and figure out often whether they're visual or especially if they're visual or auditory. And so it's paying attention, which is we talk about productive environment being an intentional setting. Right. And Kerry, you really take intentional to a whole deeper level and being intentional about everything. And I think that people underestimate how important that is. It's like, oh, it shouldn't be such a big deal, but it is a big deal. And all the brain training says that too. So
yeah, I was just about to say that. And this week I have a group program that I run, Frustration to Freedom. And this week in the group, we were talking about my clients get sick of me saying the word intentional, but we were talking about being intentional with time. That's one of the biggest areas where you can be intentional. And that's, again, where your learning style, your organizing style, your brain comes into play. And we talk a lot about, some people sometimes or for some tasks like time blocking, and they like setting aside, bigger blocks of time. We also talked yesterday about when it's appropriate to maybe do like a 5 to 10 minute sprint and what you can do during that time. So time is a whole, in addition to the physical stuff, being intentional about time and how you operate in here when it comes to time is huge.
Yeah. We're going to do a workshop coming up, Kerry. Might have to get you to speak on that too. All right, Barbara and I are doing a workshop here and very, very soon. We'll announce the date to you guys very, very soon, but it's about time, tasks, and projects. Ooh. So time, tasks, and projects. And one of the things that we recognize, a lot of times people are it's more socially acceptable to say that you don't have enough time to do something. right? Time management is a big hot button keyword. It's more socially acceptable to say that you don't have enough time, because that must mean you're really busy and really important and you're getting a lot of stuff done, right? Than it is to say, oh, I have a lot of clutter. My inbox is overflowing. I have a lot of clutter on my desk. We don't want to admit that, but it's a socially acceptable to say it's time. But a lot of times when you realize that because of the piles of paper and the overflowing inbox, that slows you down. You're looking for more things. You can't find what you need when you need it. And then that leads to a time management issue, right? So they're really, really connected. So we're going to be talking about that soon. If you guys are new to our community and you want to make sure you're notified about that workshop, make sure you go to lesscluttermorelife.com, opt in there for there's a free 17-minute video that you can watch, and then that will make sure that you get the invitation to our upcoming workshop. So yeah, we're excited about that. Look, we're at the bottom of the hour already. That went so fast, Kerry.
It did. I could have talked 5 times longer about each category.
I know.
I kept watching the little clock. So
definitely, we could even do like a whole podcast on just each one individually. Mm-hmm. So I think, we've got 1 more minute. I'll just ask this. It is interesting that I think a lot of us are a combination, right? I feel like I am a combination of all 3, and I work better if I have all 3. If I have the visual, like Barb was saying, the audio book and the real book and note taking, and then the feeling like I like to have my notebook in the exact perfect place it's supposed to be in, and my coffee cup has to be on the left side of my desk and things like that. So it is interesting. Yeah, see,
on the left,
mine's on the right. I don't think I can drink my coffee on the left. I don't think I can.
Fascinating. I feel like I'd knock it over if it was on the right.
I think I know where you were going with that train of thought. And so I'll just say, like, the same as we all do in the PEI world, we encourage our clients, okay, decide what you're going to do and then go all in and try it for a period of time. Don't be throwing different strategies and things at the wall on a daily basis. Like you should decide either on your own with the help of someone like me, a friend, whatever it is, and then go all in. Do it for 30 days. See how it works. Do small tweaks. Don't be putting in brand new systems and then abandoning them every week. You're going to end up more frustrated and things.
Well, that leads us to, I think, our 4 questions that we use a lot. That's a perfect way to end, to know whether something's organized, is number 1, does it work? Number 2, do you like it? Number 3, does it work for the people it impacts? And 4, can you recover quickly? Because messes happen. I mean, we can have everything right and messes happen. And if you can answer yes, and then we always say 6 months later, you ask the same questions. Does it still work? Do I still like it? If the answer is no, it doesn't mean it's wrong before. It means something has changed, because we live in a world now where things are changing so quickly. But to Kerry's point, it's really important to do it long enough to evaluate why or why not is it not work? Why not? Why you don't like it? Why you don't like it, or what you do like it? Because otherwise you're just switching around all the time and you're not learning anything. And no, we go back to the beginning. We said half of any job is having the right tool. There's not any tool that's perfect. So you've got to use it long enough to figure out how close it is and then do the workaround. So
that's right. So
Kerry, wonderful to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you.
And so if you'll put up Kerry's website one last time as we sign off, cluttertoclaritysteps.com. And so they'll learn more. They can find more information about what you taught today, among other amazing things on that page. So thank you all for joining us. This ends this episode of PEPTalk. So be sure to join in next week for the next episode. Let me see if I have any comments here. Oh, I got to share this one. Pam says, fantastic. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Pam. Thanks, everybody, for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.